Welcome viewers. Welcome viewers to this session of Gyan Darshan. Myself, Professor Kamulika Banerjee, and our expert, Dr. Sharbari Banerjee, will be talking about different dimensions of Rabindra Sangeet, just an introduction to it. Let me introduce our expert, Dr. Sharbari Banerjee, to you. She is a musicologist in the Department of Education and Arts and Aesthetics, National Council of Educational Research and Training, New Delhi, and a performing artist of Hindustani classical music. She has worked intensively on NEP 2020 and is the member secretary for the National Position Paper on Arts Education. Indian music is an oral tradition, the traditional lineage of learning from the teacher of Guru has been its hallmark, which has sustained for generations. Dr. Sharbari Banerjee is a representative of this lineage. She has the honor of being trained by eminent gurus like Srimati Jayashree Banerjee, Pandit P.P. Johari in Khayal, Srimati Anita Roy in Khayal, Pandit Bholanath Mishra in Thumri and Bhajan. Along with the above traditional knowledge, she attained her PhD in music on the topic Evolution of Ragas through their distinctive treatment in different gharanas from the University of Delhi under the illustrious musician late Guru Pandit Debu Chaudhary, a Padma Vibhushan. Dr. Sharbari Banerjee is a regular artist in Prasar Bharati in Hindustani vocal music and has performed in many parts of India and abroad. She also performs devotional songs like Thumri, Dadra, and Bangla songs. As a faculty in NCRT, she is involved in writing and developing textbooks in music for students, and also she has developed many books for teachers, as well as she has other NCRT publications. So, over to Dr. Sharbari Banerjee for introduction to the different dimensions of Rabindra Sangeet.
I welcome everyone, all my viewers today, and I also thank Kamolika ji for introducing me so well. Today we are going to talk about a very, very interesting topic, and that is a person who has so much. He has so much to give to the world. Of course, he's a Nobel laureate, but he is a poet, he's a musician, he has written so many plays, he has written so many songs, he's a dramatist, painter, and so many other attributes he has. Our country, Bharat, India, we owe him a lot. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore has given us so much in literature, in music, in our lives. And he's not only a national person, we all know that he's a global person. Today in this talk show, I am going to talk about a very interesting part of his personality, a very interesting part of his intelligence, talent, that is his music, Sangeet. We all know that his poetry, poems, books, Gitanjali, because of Gitanjali he got the Nobel Prize. He has written Gitobitan. Now Gitanjali is a book of poetry, but Gitobitan is a book of songs. And we know that he has written more than 2,500 songs. And when you hear his songs, you will understand that what type of themes he has covered. It's not that he has covered only love, romance. He has covered bhakti, he has covered varsha, prakriti, prem. Then he has written so many dance dramas. And you know, he started writing at the age of around 6 to 7.
Right.
He wrote Bhanu Singher Padabuli. I mean, such a difficult prose he wrote that time, and we sing those. So today, one by one, I'm going to introduce you to his music.
Yes, let us select each porjay
Yes.
and carry on the discussions.
Yes. So, Rabindranath Tagore, he was, this is Bengali language, which I wanted all my viewers, to understand that this is the actual language he wrote in. But then, of course, it got translated to many versions, and
Regional and
when he
English
went to
also.
Europe, and naturally in Europe, it got translated into English. I'll just start with a
Yeah, puja
Puja.
porjay. Sharbari ji, one thing I cannot resist myself from telling. Rabindranath's puja and prem are overlapping.
Yes.
And even songs like Jodi Prem Dile Na Prane, Keno Bhorer Hawa Bhore Dile Amon Gane Gane, songs like this has the word prem but belongs to puja porjay.
Yes. And actually, when we read his poetry or when we read his music, we understand that puja and prem are synonymous to him. Because he bestows everything to prem, which is puja for him. And in this song, he has written about the world, আনন্দ ধারা বহিছে ভুবনে দিন রজনী কত অমৃত রস উথলি যায় অনন্ত গগনে আনন্দ ধারা বহিছে ভুবনে পান করে রবি শশী অঞ্জলি ভরিয়া পান করে রবি শশী অঞ্জলি ভরিয়া সদা দীপ্ত রহে অক্ষয় জ্যোতি নিত্য পূর্ণ ধারা জীবনে কিরণে আনন্দ ধারা বহিছে ভুবনে. Rabindranath Tagore was a learned musician, and this I'm going to sing for you in Hindi also, so that my viewers who don't understand the language
That would be very
Bangla,
helpful.
So,
And Sharbari ji, could you give the origin of this tune? Like which song it has? I think some Hindustani classical music.
Rabindranath was a learned musician, and most of his songs are based on rags, Kamala ji. So this is Malkos.
Yes.
I'll sing the Hindi part. आनंद धारा बहिरे जग में दिवस रजनी कैसे अमृत रस उथली जाए अनंत नभ में पान करे रवि शशि अंजलि भर भर सदा ज्योति जले अक्षय ज्योति नित्य पूर्ण धरा जीवन प्रकाश आनंद धारा बहे जीवन में. You see the philosophy of his music.
It was great.
Not only was his tune, but the philosophy that इस धरा में आनंद भर जाए दिवस रजनी अमृत रस के समान और ऐसे हर जगह फैले कि अनंत नभ में.
Yes.
So that is the philosophy. He wanted everyone to be happy. He wanted the world to be happy, and this song is one of the examples. So we will see other songs also when we hear them. The tunes are extraordinary. But for our viewers, I would like to say that literature, Rabindranath's literature, the words he coined, and Bangla, the Bangla literature, which he has, it has progressed under him. And that is one of the best thing that has happened to the world of knowledge. How he has developed that language. From Sanskrit, he took such beautiful words, and we are going to hear it in many of the songs. So, just now I was telling you about Bhanushingeer Padabuli. So, I'll sing one of his Bhanushingeer Padabuli. And he started, I'll just.
He took the nickname of Bhanusingho,
Yeah.
Rabindranath, because he was writing at a very young age and he started this name. He took this name.
And the favorite topic or favorite theme of Rabindranath was Barsha, Barsat, Sawan. So he has written a lot of things in Sawan. So I'll sing, this is also of Sawan. गहन कुसुम कुंज माझे मृदुल मधुर बंशी बाजे बिसरी त्रास लोक लाज सजनी आओ आओ लो गहन कुसुम कुंज माझे. I forgot to tell the viewers the bhasha is Maithili,
Yes.
which is spoken in Bihar.
And actually, he took the name of Brojo Buli in this one.
So, Maithili is one of the most popular languages in Bihar, which is even spoken now. So, that time he had a teacher who knew Maithili, and he had some of his friends, and we all know that Rabindranath was a traveler. He traveled to so many places in every part of India and also abroad, of course. So, he was in contact with Maithili and he fell in love with Maithili. So, this is one of the songs. And I know the viewers, they will understand this language. It's,
Yes.
it's very close to Sanskrit and Hindi. गहन कुसुम कुंज माझे मृदुल मधुर बंशी बाजे बिसरी त्रास लोक लाज सजनी आओ आओ लो गहन कुसुम कुंज माझे पिनह चारु नीलबास हृदय प्रणय कुसुम रास पिनह चारु नीलबास हृदय प्रणय कुसुम रास हरि नेत्र विमल हास कुंज बन में आओ लो गहन कुसुम कुंज माझे ढाले कुसुम सुर बहार ढाले बिहग सुरभ सार ढाले इंदु अमृत धार विमल रजति कानि रे. So this is
Yes,
one
and
example.
even in this Bhanushingeer Padabuli, even though he wrote in such a young age, but what a pining of love you can hear from that song.
Yes.
Marana re tuhu mama shama sama.
Excellent. Yes. What a beautiful song. There's another song. So हम जब छोटे से हम इसको गाए हैं. We just love this song and we have danced. All of you,
Yes,
all of
yes.
us have danced. श्रावण गगने घोर. Let's sing together.
घटा
श्रावण
गगने घोर घन घटा निशीथ जामिनी रे
कुंज पथे सखी कैसे जाव कुंज पथे सखी कैसे जाव
अबला कामिनी रे श्रावण गगने घोर घन घटा
उन्मद पवने जमुना तरजित घन घन गर्जित में। आप इसको सुनेंगे ना आपको ऐसा लगेगा कि बरसात आपके चारों
Yes.
तरफ है
And the
और किस
changing of
तरह से-
speed,
हाँ,
the
जैसे
rhythm.
बरसात में धीरे धीरे बारिश शुरू होती है, फिर बहुत ज़्यादा तेज वर्षा होती है, उसके बाद फिर धीरे धीरे होती है। तो जब आप ये गाना सुन रहे हैं तो आपको वो
You will feel that.
ध्वनि जिसे हम
Yes.
कहते हैं ध्वनि वो सुनाई देगी। उन्मद पवने जमुना तरजित घन घन गर्जित में
दमकत विद्युत पथ तरुलुण्ठित धरहर कंपित देह घन घन रिम झिम बरखत नीरद पूंज शाल पियाले ताल तमाले
शाल पियाले
ताल तमाले निबिड़ति विरमय कुंज। I think we can go on and on with
Yes,
this.
there are so many.
Yes.
There's one राधा कृष्ण पर भी लिखा है ना,
Yes.
सजनी
सजनी राधिकालो देख बहु चाहिया मृदुल गमन श्यामावे मृदुल गान गाहिया
सजनी सजनी. So there is the, but after some years, around 10 to 12 years, when he had written, and he was satisfied. He said now he did not write Bhanu Singh Thakurer Padaboli anymore. We all know that. But whatever he composed at this young age, imagine at this age, young age, when you can't even think of such things, he is composing those poems and those music, those prose, and look at his insight, the inner self, he has revealed everywhere. So again, I would say that we as musicians, you all as his countrymen, we all really owe a lot to Rabindranath Tagore. He was not an individual, but he was a total institution. And when we read his literature, when we read his drama, when we read all his poems, of course the songs, we find that there are innumerable thoughts. And they all connect to the human mind, the human philosophy, the human way of life. So that is the beautiful part. Any emotion, we say navras. उस नवरस पे भी जो भी emotion है, any emotion we see, it connects to one or the other Rabindra Sangit. So let's move to the another Porjay means section, Prakriti. Of course, we have been singing two songs which connect to Prakriti. This is another one, and he wrote this in 1937. Esho shamolo shundaro. Now this is total rag des. Sare ma pa ni sa, sa ni da pa ma ga re, ni sa re ma pa ni da pa ma pa sa ni da pa ma ga re pa ma ga sa ni sa. Esho shamolo shundaro, esho shamolo shundaro, anutabo tapohara trishahara shango shuddha birohini chahiya che akashe shamolo shundaro. সে যে ব্যথিত হৃদয়ে আছে বিছায়ে, ব্যথিত হৃদয় আছে বিছায়ে, তমাল কুঞ্জ পথে সজল ছায়াতে, নয়নে জাগিছে করুণ রাগিনী, শ্যামল সুন্দর, এসো শ্যামল সুন্দর. You will see very beautiful application of the rag, very pure form of rag. Sa re ma pa ni ni sa, दोनों निषाद का प्रयोग होता है इसमें. ma pa ni ni sa ni sa re sa ni sa ni da pa ma pa da pa ma pa ma ga re, esho shyamolo sundaro. We find many such aspects in Prakriti. So, will you sing one Prakriti, something on Sharad Utsav? He wrote a lot on Sharad.
Okay, but what about Boshanto? I remember one Boshanto song which also he wrote from a South Indian song, Meenakshi. Bashonti he bhuvana mohini. He starts with a very slow theme, slow poise, then suddenly নীলো আকাশে মলয় বাতাসে ব্যাপিল অনন্ত তব মাধুরী বাসন্তি. And again faster, মধু মদ মোদিত হৃদয়ে হৃদয়ে রে, মধু মদ মোদিত হৃদয়ে হৃদয়ে, নব প্রাণ উচ্ছ্বসিল আজি, বিকশিত চিত উচ্ছলি রে, বিকশিত চিত উচ্ছলি উন্মাদনা, রণ রণ ঝলিল ঝঙ্কৃতে, মঞ্জির মঞ্জিরে বাস. And then again in Sharod, for the children there are many songs like আজি ধানের খেতে রৌদ্র ছায়া, লুকোচুরির খেলা রে ভাই. And again then মেঘের কোলে রোদ এসেছে, বাদল গেছে টুটি, আহা হা হা হা. There are so many, we cannot really.
You know, he wrote for both. He wrote for children also. A lot of songs he wrote for songs.
Yes.
This one, you know, we all know that in all schools, this song, this song which you have sung, it's so beautiful that everyone dances to
Yes.
this type of songs. So Rabindranath, it has innumerable philosophies, innumerable thought processes, innumerable themes. You know, he has written so many types of songs that when we really try to connect to every aspect of our life, अगर हम दुख में हैं, अगर हम सुख में हैं, शांति में हैं, और अगर हमें रौद्र है, अगर हम कोई भीषण कुछ हो रहा है, so we will see that we are able to connect to each and everything. So that is the beauty, and that is Rabindranath Tagore actually. I'll sing another song from Puja or Prarthana. We all know that Prarthana, you know, he believed in everything in nature, and he was very attached to Upanishads. So he has written lot of things which are based on Upanishads. The Sangachadvam jo shlok hai Upanishad ka, Sangachadvam Sangvadadvam Sangmo manansi janata. Let us sing together. Anand.
Yes, I'll try.
Anando loke mongola loke birajo shotto sundar
মহাগগন মাঝে মহিমা তব উদ্ভাসিত মহাগগন মাঝে বিশ্বজনত মণিভূষণ বেষ্টিত চরণে আনন্দ লোকে মঙ্গলা লোকে বিরাজ সত্য सुंदर।
इस टोनल क्वालिटी से, इन स्वरों के समुदाय से ही आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि ये प्रार्थना गीत ही है और इसके शब्द तो हैं ही, और आनंद लोक में छाने की बात इसमें फिर से कही गई है। लेट द यूनिवर्स बी हैप्पी, दैट इज व्हाट ही ऑलवेज विश्ड फॉर। देयर इज अनदर सॉन्ग फ्रॉम इन द पूजा और प्रार्थना Porjai. I would like to just tell you that this is derived from a Kannada song, because you know he had a lot of influences, and not only he went to the states and he was influenced with various types of music, and we all know that he was invited to every state. The Rajas, the Maharajas, the governors, they all patronized him. So he went around, and there he was able to come in touch with many folk songs and also classical music. So this is written in 1882.
बड़ो आशा
Yeah, another important aspect of this song is Mata, the importance of Janani. Now Janani can be synonymous to your motherland also. So this is Janani and Mata.
বড় আশা করে এসেছি গো কাছে ডেকে লও ফিরায়ও না জননী বড় আশা করে এসেছি গো কাছে ডেকে লও দিনহীনে কেহ চাহে না তুমি তারে রাখিবে জানি গো বড় আশা করে এসেছি গো কাছে ডেকে লও আর আমি যে কিছু চাহিনে চরণ তলে বসে থাকিব আর আমি যে কিছু চাহিনে জননী বলে শুধু ডাকিব তুমি না রাখিলে গৃহ আর পাইব কোথায় কেঁদে কেঁদে কোথা বেড়াবো ওই যে হেরি তমস ঘন ঘোরা গহন রজনী বড় আশা করে এসেছি গো কাছে ডেকে লও such melody, and you know he knew which song, which rag, which tone, which rhythm would be
apply
perfect
for which of the words.
Yes, such a chemistry.
That's a beautiful connection he was. So puja, prarthana, so now we see how it overlaps, as you had mentioned in the beginning that it always overlaps.
Yes, puja,
Because,
prem, prarthana, all
everything,
overlaps.
There's another song which is very popularly sung, and it was written in 1885. This was Prem or Prakriti Porjai. We have to know that his Porjai was, gradually it was given the sections. He wrote spontaneously. And Shorobitan and all of these books, they had all types of songs, and he wrote in various magazines also, the songs which were published. So later on, he started compiling all and his disciples and his students in, of course, Shanti Niketan, they also helped him. And that is how we are able to, see how Gitobitan. No, we all, I think most of our Bengalis have Gitobitan in their house, and many, not only Bengalis, many Indians, they treasure it. That Gitobitan is one of the treasured books. So, another song from Gitobitan. Let's sing. I think everyone knows this song. পুরানো সেই দিনের কথা ভুলবি কি রে আয়ো সে চোখের দেখা প্রাণের কথা সে কি ভোলা যায়. Let me give a small, story. Not a story, but it's a feeling. We all study in schools and colleges, and then we grow up and we go our own ways. We all have our own families, we get married, then we do our jobs, and nowadays, every job takes you to different parts of the world. So, but, if you really, feel this, after maybe you have departed for 25, 30, 35 years, and suddenly you are on the street of maybe, a very far away place from your native place, and you see a friend, suddenly, there's excitement and there's happiness, and you talk about those years as you have never spoken before. Because वो आपके मन के अंदर था वो खुशी. And this song, it says all that.
Yes.
That when we meet our friends, when we meet our soulmates who have been a part of our lives in our childhood days, in our school or college days, we can never forget them. They are a part of us. পুরানো সেই দিনের কথা ভুলবি কি রে আয়ো সেই চোখের দেখা প্রাণের কথা সে কি ভোলা যায়. পুরানো সেই দিনের কথা ভুলবি কি রে আয়ো সেই চোখের দেখা প্রাণের কথা সে কি ভোলা যায়. আয় আর একটিবার আয় রে সখা প্রাণের মাঝে আয় মোরা সুখের দুঃখের কথা কব প্রাণ জুড়াবে তাই. আয় আর একটিবার আয় রে সখা প্রাণের মাঝে আয় মোরা সুখের দুঃখের কথা কব প্রাণ জুড়াবে তাই. মোরা ভোরের বেলা ফুল তুলেছি দুলেছি দোলায় বাজিয়ে বাঁশি গান গেয়েছি বকুলের তলায়. In his reminiscences, his students have written that this was a song, Auld Lang Syne, in Irish. We all know that Rabindranath Tagore, he travelled to UK, United Kingdom, a lot, and he was in Scotland, Ireland, and he was very fond of Scottish ballads. And this song was sung in the church, Irish. So, Auld Lang Syne. And we would be very happy to tell you, and you would note also, that though he adapted a lot of tunes of Scottish ballad, but when you hear those songs, there is not a touch of that Scottish thing, It is absolutely the language in which he has created the song. So that is one of the individuality. We may adapt a song, we may like the tune and we adapt the tune, but it has a certain originality of its own, a certain creativity, and Rabindranath was adept to it. There are many songs, which correspond to Scottish ballads. Phule Phule Dhole Dhole is another song. फूले फूले ढोले ढोले बहे की मृदुबाई. This song is also a Scottish ballad, and we have heard this song in one of the Hindi films also. So one aspect is there how, for centuries we will hear his songs, and we know that his songs would always be a part of our lives. So let's move ahead. Or
Yeah. Now let us go for a small break, and we will meet after the break in 5 minutes.
Do you wish to be part of a television studio like this, or any other media system, or already part of any media system, want to enhance a new set of skills? Welcome to School of Journalism New Media Studies. Here in the School of Journalism New Media Studies, we are offering program for all set of people to learn and enhance their media skills. The vision of School of Journalism and New Media Studies is to generate a new set of professionals in the area of media and communication studies with understanding about role of media in the national development and global understanding. We offer innovative programs in the field of journalism and mass communication that sets the benchmark of high quality learning and teaching process at the national level. We offer these programs across the country with the help of our regional network as well as study center. Same manner, many of our programs are offered through online mode with a sophisticated learning management system. SOGNMS offers programs from PhD in journalism and mass communication till certificate level. We have masters in journalism and mass communication. The eligibility is bachelor's degree, and we are introducing this program in 3 languages: Hindi, Tamil and English. Students from national and international students can join either through online mode as well as in the distance mode. We have 4 postgraduate diploma programs, specialized areas in the field of development communication, digital media, electronic media, and journalism and mass communication program. And all these 4 programs are available in distance mode. 2 programs are available in online mode, development communication and digital media. And we have specialized certificate program in community radio. IGNOU employs various media and communication tools for better teaching and learning process. School of Journalism and New Media Studies utilizes this media system for delivering all our programs. Come and join with us for exploring a new career and enhance your media skills.
সুখে আমায় রাখবে কেন, রাখো তোমার কোলে, যাক না গো সুখ জ্বলে জ্বলে, সুখে আমায় রাখবে কেন। Welcome back to this session of Gyan Darshan on introduction to the different dimensions of Rabindra Sangeet. Rabindranath Tagore, so close to our heart, and this session we have our expert, Dr. Sharbari Banerjee. Yes, Sharbari ji, let us carry on with our discussions.
My next rendition would be a very beautiful song, Tumi Kemon Kore Gan Karo He Guni. I'll tell you the reference later. Tumi Kemon Kore Gan Karo He Guni, Ami Abak Hoye Shuni, Kebol Shuni, Tumi Kemon Kore Gan Karo He Guni, সুরের আলো ভুবন ফেলেছে, সুরের হাওয়া চলে গগন বেয়ে, সুরের আলো ভুবন ফেলেছে, সুরের হাওয়া চলে গগন বেয়ে, পাষাণ টুটে ব্যাকুল বেগে ধে, বহিয়া যায় সুরের সুরধ্বনি, তুমি কেমন করে গান করো হে গুণী। This song was written in 1909 and there was a program in Calcutta in the University Hall. So Rabindranath was a very, he was a very affectionate person, and he used to love people who were very talented. So in that program was specially for Ustad Inayat Khan. And we all know Ustad Inayat Khan is such a beautiful, wonderful musician, and the program was to honor Ustad Inayat Khan. Now इनायत खां का प्रोग्राम उनको ऑनर करने के लिए है, तो रविन्द्रनाथ ठाकुर को लेके तो गए, लेकिन रविन्द्रनाथ कुछ भी बोलने को तैयार नहीं। बोले नहीं, ये उनके लिए है, ये सभा उनके लिए। मैं जैसे ही, वो जानते थे मैं जैसे ही खड़ा हो जाऊंगा तो फिर मेरे को ही बोलेंगे गाना गाने के लिए, लेकिन इनायत साहब ने देखो कितना अच्छा बजाया, लेकिन किसी ने मानी नहीं, और उन्होंने उसी समय ये इस तरह की एक गीत की रचना की। मैं अपने दर्शकों को हिंदी में भी इसका सुनाना चाहूँगी, तो आप थोड़ा इसका अर्थ समझेंगे और सोचेंगे कि मैं अच्छा हूँ, ठीक है, लेकिन appreciation is a very good part of your life, an important part of your life. You should always appreciate attributes of others, talent of others.
And such is the attribute of a great person, I think.
Yes.
A personality.
I mean, we should not feel so insecure.
Yes.
हम देखते हैं कि we have pride and we have that घमंड, जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं, and we forget to talk about other people, and especially nowadays, we see that happening more. So let's learn certain values, certain goodness in life from Rabindranath Tagore. It's Tagore's philosophy. तुम कैसे यूं गीत गाते हो, मैं तो विस्मित होके सुनता, तुम कैसे यूं गीत गाते हो, सुर की ज्योति भूमंडल पे छाए, सुर की धारा समूचे गगन में छाए, सुर की ज्योति भूमंडल पे छाए, सुर की धारा समूचे गगन में छाए, तोड़ के प्रस्तर व्याकुल हो मन ध्याए, बहती जाए सुर की सुर ध्वनि, तुम कैसे यूं गीत गाते हो। ये लास्ट दो लाइन सुनिए। मन करता है वैसे ही सुर में गाऊं, कंठ से मेरे सुर कहीं ना पाऊं। Look at his modesty.
Yes.
মনে করি অমনি সুরে গাই, কণ্ঠে আমার সুর খুঁজে না পাই, কইতে কি চাই কইতে কথা বাঁধে, হার মেনে যে পরাণ আমার কাঁদে, আমায় তুমি ফেলেছ কোন ফাঁদে, চৌদিকে মোর সুরের সুরধ্বনি, তুমি কেমন করে গান করো এ গুণী।
I also
सुर की भी
remember
बात कह
this.
दी,
Yes.
उस व्यक्ति की भी बात कह दी,
Yes.
ये बात है उनके गानों में।
Yeah, and with this, just I remember that song where he says, তোমার সুরের ধারা ঝরে যেথা তারি পারে, দেবে কি গো বাসা আমায়, দেবে কি একটি ধারে। Sharbari ji, could you just translate into Hindi this song, just the gist of it?
तुम्हारे सुर की जो धारा है, 7 सुर है हमारे, हाँ, जो तुम्हारे सुर की धारा है उसने मुझे एकदम विलीन कर दिया, और मेरे मन, मस्तिष्क, तन सबको इतना प्रवाहित किया है कि मैं उसी में बहता चला जाऊंगा। एक उन्होंने बहुत और सुर के लिए बहुत कुछ लिखा है। सुरेर गुरु,
I was remembering this song also.
स्वर है उसको ही भगवान मान लिया, और बोले शूरेर गुरु दाओ गो शूरेर दीक्षा, दीक्षांत दो मुझे कि मैं तुम्हारे सुरों में बह जाऊं, ये सुर मेरे में आए, हाँ, और मेरे मन हृदय को इतना प्रवाहित करे कि मैं इसी में ही अपना जीवन व्यतीत करूं। दीक्षा मांग
Even
रहे हैं,
after being such a
दीक्षा मांग
great
रहे हैं,
person,
हाँ,
even after achieving so much,
yes,
he is doing prarthana for sur,
हाँ,
for all the arts and aesthetics. He's bowing down to the sur.
I will just tell you something because I've been involved in the school education and literacy program. In the national education policy, there is a lot of reference of music, and as you know, I was one of the member secretaries we have written the focus paper on art education, and in that, you know, we have written that music should be there from the age of class 3. From the age of 3, that is preschool.
Yes.
From preschool till
Because
class
that is the
12.
formative
Yes.
stage.
Because that, you know, affects your mind, that basically develops your brain so much, and you know, you have that cognitive thinking.
Yes.
And music makes you very rational. Music is a research which goes on in your mind.
Yes.
Why you know, you all know that music में क्या होता है, शब्द होते हैं, देन सुर होता है, लय होता है। तो जब हम सुर, ताल, लय सबको एक साथ फॉलो करेंगे तो हमारा जो दिमाग है कितना मतलब कंसंट्रेशन
It develops the brain.
हाँ, हमें कितना कंसंट्रेशन चाहिए ये सब एक साथ सोचने के लिए और एक साथ इसको गति में लाने के लिए. तो हम सोचते थे कि हाँ गाना गा लिया उन्होंने कुछ भी गा लिया लेकिन ऐसा नहीं होता. There is lot to music.
Yes, the right brain and the left brain,
yes.
both has to be developed.
Yes, and this cognition is happens easily with music. Like आप कहते हैं meditation करिए. Meditation करना बड़ा कठिन काम है लेकिन आप 5 सुर लगाइए immediately आपका जो ध्यान मग्न हो जाएगा आपका. और यही सुर की बात रविन्द्रनाथ हमेशा कह रहे हैं कि सुरेर गुरु दाओ गो सुरे दीक्षा. So he is, we would be for centuries we would be just remembering this great poet, the poet laureate, our Gurudev, and we will see that everything in education, everything in arts is connected to Tagore, whatever he has written, whatever he has composed, whatever he has created. Let's come to another very important part of Rabindranath Tagore, that is Giti Natto. Natto Giti, Nritto Natto. So Kamalika, just tell everybody how many Nritto Natika has written. Oh my God.
Yeah, so many. And my favorite are the Chondalika, Chitrangada, Mayar Khela. Especially, I have been doing so much dance with it throughout our lives. We have done so much of it. And Ma Me, the Songlap, the dialogue in Chondalika, it is wonderful.
Wonderful. Notir Puja, Bhagno Hriday, Shama. अरे बाप रे, मतलब इतना ज़्यादा उन्होंने लिखा है कि उन्होंने तो एक जिंदगी में लिख लिया है. मुझे लगता है एक जिंदगी में हमारे लिए पढ़ना बहुत मुश्किल है. सो ये भगनो हृदय, इसका एक मैं गीत आप सबको सुनाना चाहूँगी. बच्चे इस पे बहुत नाचते हैं और हम सब ने क्या होगा इसमें. This is written in 1880. नाचे श्यामा ताले 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 रोनो रोनो झुनु बाजी छेनु पूरा मृदु मृदु मधु उठे गीतो सुर. रोनो रोनो झुनु बाजी छेनु पूरा मृदु मृदु मधु उठे गीतो सुर. बोलोय बोलोय बाजी झिनी झिनी ताले ताले उठे करो ताल ध्वनि नाचे श्यामा. ये जो करो ताल, पहले जो बच्चे हैं ना ये करो ताल से म्यूजिक सीखते हैं. ये वाली बात इस गाने में है और फुट मूवमेंट्स उनके होते हैं. तो ये सब सिंक्रोनाइज्ड, द बॉडी विच विल सिंक्रोनाइज बिकॉज ऑफ म्यूजिक. तो ये हमने ताल लगाया, ये हमने फुट मूवमेंट्स किए, फिर हमने अपने हाथों से कुछ कुछ जेस्चर्स किए. सो ऑल दैट सिंक्रोनाइज्ड. नाचे श्यामा ताले 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 रोनो रोनो झुनु बाजी छेनु पुर मृदु मृदु मधु उठे गीतो सुर. बोलोय बोलोय बाजी झिनी झिनी ताले ताले उठे करो ताले ध्वनि नाच श्यामा नाच तोबे ताले. নিরালয় তোর বনের মাঝে সে থাকি এমন নুপুর মাঝে. নিরালয় তোর বনের মাঝে সে থাকি এমন নুপুর মাঝে. এমন মধুর গান এমন মধুর তান কমল করের করতালি হেন দেখিতে পেতেশ কবে. নাচ শ্যামা নাচ তবে তালে.
What a beautiful rendition of this song you did.
So he has also written for the country, Jatiyo Shongit we call.
And one song, if you remember, of Swadesh Parjay, it is almost Sanskrit. Everyone can understand. Oi bhuvano mono mohini ma ভুবন মন মোহিনী নীল সিন্ধু জল ধৌত চরণ তল অনিল বিকম্পিত শ্যামল অঞ্চল. Means all the words have been taken from Sanskrit, and even people from non-Bengali background can also understand.
And we all know that he was such a great patriot, and how he wrote. I'll come to the last part of the program. This is, we will talk about his Desh Bhakti also, his patriotism. Before that, there is another porjai which is called Anushtanik. That is also one part of Gito Bitan. And this song I'll sing, it is of written in 1941. We all know that Tagore passed away in 1941, and on the 14th of April, so his disciples, उनके जो शिष्य थे, उन्होंने बोला कि गुरुजी आपने सब कुछ लिखा है, आपने मानव जाति को, मानव जाति के सेलिब्रेशन के लिए, मानव जाति को समूह में किस तरह से मानव जाति ने इतना कुछ ज़िंदगी में पाया है और इतना कुछ बनाया है कि हम हर दिन हम आगे बढ़ते हैं, तो उस मानव जाति को के लिए कुछ लिखे. लेट्स सेलिब्रेट द वर्च्यूज ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग. सो ही रोट ओई महामानव आशे ओई महामानव आशे दिके दिके रोमांच जागे मोर तो धूलेर घासे घासे সুরলোকে বেজে ওঠে শঙ্খ, নরলোকে বাজে জয় ডঙ্ক, এলো মহাজনমের লগ্ন, ওই মহামানব আসে. उनको लगता था कि मनुष्य ने कितना कुछ पा लिया है, कितना कुछ उन्होंने बनाया है, and look at the way human being is progressing. So that is how he praised human beings. I'm coming to the last part of the song, but I just can't go without saying that he has written the national anthem of 2 countries.
Yes, that is
And
really
he has also influenced
wonderful.
the national anthem of Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and with this we come to the end of this program.
Jana Gana Mana.
Before ending with these songs, we would like to thank our expert Dr. Sharbari ji, and with this end, let us finalize.
I'll
come
just
to
first
the end
sing
of this
the
program.
national anthem of Bangladesh.
Yeah.
আমার সোনার বাংলা, আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি, চিরদিন তোমার আকাশ, চিরদিন তোমার আকাশ, তোমার বাতাস আমার প্রাণে, ও মা আমার প্রাণে বাজায় বাঁশি সোনার বাংলা. And our song, let us all stand straight and sing the national anthem. जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा, तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभाशिष मागे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya 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 He.
Do you want to fulfill your educational aspiration by pursuing higher education in various interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary areas like environmental science, environment and occupational health, philosophy, sustainability science, folklore and culture studies? If yes, the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies offers various programs like Master's Program, Graduate Program, Postgraduate Diploma, Certificate and Appreciation Program. The school offers 5 Master's Program. Master of Science, Environmental Science. The eligibility criteria for MSc Environmental Science is Graduate in Science, BTech, BE, Agriculture Graduate, Forestry Graduate and Veterinary Graduate. School also offers Masters in Environment and Occupational Health, Masters in Sustainability Science, Masters in Philosophy and Masters in Folklore and Culture Studies. The eligibility criteria for these 4 Masters program is graduate in any discipline. The school also offers various socially relevant and need-based PG Diploma program like PG Diploma in Sustainability Science, PG Diploma in Environment and Occupational Health, PG Diploma in Folklore and Culture Studies and PG Diploma in Migration and Diaspora Studies. The school also offers PG Certificate in Climate Change and Avshist Prabandhan mein Praman Patra. The school also offers 2 doctoral programs, PhD in Environmental Science and PhD in Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies. The school offers various innovative technologies and multimedia for providing a very excellent student support system. The study material is of high quality. The learner support is provided through Gyan Darshan, Gyan Vani, IRC, Swayam Prabha and Swayam channel of IGNOU. For more detail, please log in to IGNOU website. For online admission in these programs, visit school site and also the Samarth online education portal of IGNOU. So please join these programs and fulfill your educational aspiration.
A very warm welcome to all our learners. In today's session, we will discuss about Fieldwork Practicum in BSWG program. Bachelor of Social Work program was initially launched in 2004 from the School of Social Work, Indira Gandhi National Open University. The program was revised and relaunched from July 2020 session. This session will cover the fieldwork practicum that the learner has to undergo during the course of their 3 years program. Let us understand the concept of how IGNOU works before we go into the program delivery. You can see like we have the headquarter in Indira Gandhi National Open University in Delhi, and under this we have various schools and divisions. Under the School of Social Work is located from where the program is delivered, and we have the RCs and study centers, and then the learners. The revised BSW program, which is the program code is BSWG, the total number of credits is 132, and the eligibility for this program is 10+2. The medium of instruction is English and Hindi. The duration of this program is minimum 3 years and maximum 6 years. It is offered from July 2020 in both the January and July cycle of admissions. The fee structure with which it was launched was rupees 16,200, which keeps changing, and the learners may check from the prospectus. The program consists of both theory and practicum. Theory is of 72 credits and practicum is of 60 credits. So the total credit of this program is 132. These are the theory components. There are in total 11 theory courses which is spread across 6 semesters of this program. It is starting from BSW 121 to BSW 131. Apart from the theory courses, there are practicum, fieldwork practicum in each of the 6 semesters. We will see the division of the theory and practicum in the different semesters in this session. So there are in total 6 semesters, and 6 fieldwork practicums are there for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth and 6th semesters separately. Each fieldwork practicum is of 25 days. And it is very important to note that fieldwork has to be conducted under the guidance of a professionally qualified social worker. The coordinator of the study center will provide you with an approved guide or fieldwork supervisor. And it has to be noted that completion of fieldwork in the first semester is mandatory for starting fieldwork in the second semester. Similarly, completion of fieldwork in the second semester is mandatory before one begins fieldwork practicum for the third semester. And it continues like that. A learner may appear for term end examination without complete fieldwork practicum, but fieldwork practicums are mandatory for completion of the program. Now let us see how the theory and practicum courses are distributed. In the first semester, there are 2 theory papers and 1 fieldwork practicum. The theory papers are BHDLA 135 or BEGLA 135, that is Hindi Bhasha or English. Learner can choose either of these 2, any one. And we have BSW 121, which is Professional Social Work and its Values. Both these theory papers are of 6 credits each. The fieldwork component is BSW L 104, which is Social Work Practicum 4. We'll come into the details of how one has to do the fieldwork practicum. But it was already told that it is of 25 days, which consist of 5 individual conferences and 20 orientation visits. In the second semester, the 2 theory papers are BSW 122 Society, Social Institutions and Social Problems and BSW 123 Community Organization and Communication, and the fieldwork practicum is BSW L 105 Social Work Practicum 5. In this semester, learner has to do 25 days of fieldwork practicum, which includes 5 orientation visits, 15 concurrent visits and 5 individual conferences. Third semester also consists of 2 theory papers, BSW 124 Human Growth, Behavior and Counseling and BSW 125 Social Casework and Social Group Work. the fieldwork practicum is BSWL 106, social work practicum 6, which consists of 25 days of fieldwork, including 5 orientation visits, 15 concurrent visits, and 5 individual conferences. In the fourth semester also there are 2 theory papers, BSW 126, social work in family setting, and BSW 127, public health and HIV/AIDS. The field work in this semester is BSWL 107, social work practicum 7. Here, during the 25 days of fieldwork practicum, learner has to complete 5 orientation visits and 15 concurrent visits and 5 individual conferences. Similarly, in the 5th semester, the 2 theory papers are BSW 128, Social Policy and Social Development, and BSW 129, Research Methods in Social Work. Fieldwork is BSW L 108. Here, the learner has to complete 5 orientation visits, 15 concurrent visits, and 5 individual conferences. And in the last semester, the 2 theory papers are BSW 130, Prevention of Substance Abuse, and BSW 131, Social Welfare Administration and Social Action, and the practicum is BSW L 109, Social Work Practicum 9. Let us come now individually in this how the fieldwork practicum has to be completed per semester. So in the first semester, the fieldwork practicum is BSW L 104. As I said, there are 25 days of total fieldwork which has to be completed, which includes 5 individual conferences. Now, individual conferences are the discussions which happens with the learner, the student, and the supervisor. Supervisor is allotted by the study center, and the person is MSW qualified person and an approved person from IGNOU, School of Social Work. So these discussions on fieldwork related issues has to be written as a report in the fieldwork practicum journal, which is already provided along with the study materials. And in the first semester, along with the 5 individual conferences, the learner has to complete 20 fieldwork orientation visits. Orientation visits has to be done in 20 different fieldwork settings so that the student has a knowledge and understanding of the different components of the fieldwork that has to be done. So here is an example of the different fieldwork settings. The learner can choose health settings like hospitals, community health centers, primary health centers, clinics. There is also option of correctional settings like prisons, police stations, juvenile justice systems, training schools, administration of parole services. Of course, special permission is required to do fieldwork in these correctional settings. Then we have the civic administrations like social welfare departments, education departments, health departments, municipal offices, panchayat offices, collectorates, block offices, and so on. A learner can also do fieldwork in the educational settings like schools, colleges, non-formal adult education institutions, home for the destitute, disaster-afflicted refugees and migrants. We also have homes for weaker sections like women, children, beggars, elderly. A learner can also do community services. There is also option to do fieldwork in de-addiction and rehabilitation center and palliative care centers. Now, a learner often faces problem of how to write the reports of orientation visits. The format is already given in all the journals which is provided along with the study materials, and one has to write about the name of the institution, the address, the mission statement, the objectives of the agency or the setting, the people who are working there, like who is the chief executive officer, who are the board members, the type of work the organization is involved in, who are the beneficiaries, how many number of people are there, what is the geographical area of work of the setting, and whether the agency is registered or not, what is the structure of the agency, and is there any history of the organization, what are the sources of funding, and what kind of infrastructural facilities the organization has, like buildings, transport, communication aids, audio-video equipments, and what is the relationship of the agency with other stakeholders like other welfare agencies, the government departments, Panchayati Raj institutions, community-based organizations, religious organizations. If the organization is facing any kind of problem, and whether the organization has received any recognition and awards, whether it has got any affiliation with any other body. And the learner can write any other things that he or she observes during their fieldwork days. And finally, the learner has to write elaborately about their learning outcomes, what the learner has learned about their visit on that particular day, what was the experiences, and what was the observations regarding the agency and the staff. So this detailed kind of analytical report has to be written during the orientation visits. Now, it is also very important for the learner to write about a self-evaluation report that is available at the end of all the fieldwork journals. Self-evaluation report is a brief report regarding the fieldwork, the experiences you gained during the various semesters of the fieldwork practicum, and there are certain set parameters like what kind of knowledge you acquired, what are the skills, what attitudes you formed as a professional social worker, how did you develop yourself as a professional self, and you also have to write a summary of your fieldwork. And there is also a checklist given so that the learner do not miss on any point. And finally, the supervisor under whose supervision you are doing the fieldwork, he or she, the supervisor, will give global comments. Coming to the second semester of fieldwork practicum, which is BSWL 105, the total fieldwork days are 25 days, in which the learner has to write reports about 5 individual conferences and 5 orientation visits in 5 different fieldwork settings. We have already discussed about the different settings. Now, in this, starting from this semester, the learner has to choose only one particular setting in which concurrent visits needs to be done for 15 days. So, in the second semester, during the concurrent visits, the learner has to write reports separately for the 15 days and also a report of community organization, which is one of the method you will learn during the second semester in the theory paper also, and it is a very important primary method in social work, and you need to practice the method of community organization and write the report accordingly. Now, learners, you are supposed to read the fieldwork journal, and there are examples given in the fieldwork practicum about how to write the report of community organization. So, during the concurrent fieldwork, 15 days of visits have to be made in any one of the fieldwork setting, and after each visit, it is expected that the learner will write the report, and it is desirable to prepare a draft, correct it, and then get it checked with the supervisor, and then write the final in the practicum. And it has to be written in own handwriting, and it should not be typed. And then the report on community organization has to be written. So the concurrent fieldwork reports has to be written according to a proforma which is given in the fieldwork journal. So which also includes this date, time, the activities performed, and observations, what are the tasks assigned, what did you do in the fieldwork days, and how did you organize in any activity, any administrative assignments, and what kind of social work techniques, principles could one use during the fieldwork days. So all these details have to be recorded in the fieldwork journal. Now, when we talk about community organization, you will learn in the theory paper also. It is a macro practice, and as a method, it is practiced in a community setting. And here, during community organization, you have to enter into a community, build rapport. You can write the community profile. One can also write about the felt needs of the community and who are the leaders. You can conduct meetings with the main people who are there in the village or the community, and consult the organizations who are working in the area, what are the problems and how a solution can be achieved. All those things may be written in the form under community organization. Coming to fieldwork in the third semester, which is BSWL 106. Now here also the total number of fieldwork days is 25, which will include 5 individual conferences. Now this 5 individual conferences is very important because it is mandatory to get supervision. One cannot just go do the fieldwork on their own and submit the report at the end of the semester. That is not expected. What is expected is to do the fieldwork under the guidance of a fieldwork supervisor who is approved by IGNOU School of Social Work. So from time and again, the learner has to discuss the fieldwork details with the supervisor, the several problems he or she is facing, what kind of solutions is offered, what are the experiences. So all these details should be recorded under the reports on individual conference. And similarly, the learner has to do 5 orientation visits in 5 different fieldwork settings. Now here also in third semester, 15 concurrent fieldwork days have to be done, and reports have to be written separately for all the 15 days. And again here in the third semester, you will practice the method of social casework. Social casework is one of the theory paper that you will learn in the third semester, and also in the practicum journal, details are given on how to do a social casework. It is a very important primary method in social work, and it is concerned with the adjustment and development of the individual towards more satisfying human relations. And here the purpose is to provide an exposure to the method of social work to the learner, and the casework is done over a limited period of time. So as a learner, one has to be careful not to stretch the fieldwork a lot, and the kind of casework process has to be followed in terms of study, assessment, intervention, termination, and evaluation. So initial phase may require more time, but as learner you can gradually proceed under the guidance of the fieldwork supervisor. Coming to the fieldwork practicum for your fourth semester, which is BSWL 107, apart from the 5 individual conferences and 5 orientation visits in 5 different fieldwork settings, you have to do 15 concurrent fieldwork in this fourth semester as well, and you have to write separate reports of each of these days. And apart from this, in the fourth semester, you have to write report of social group work. So you will study social group work in the theory of the fourth semester. So in the fourth semester fieldwork, one has to practice the method of social group work during their fieldwork. Now, as you will understand that group work is a primary method in social work, and it can be done in agencies where people are available in groups like schools, orphanages, old age homes, daycare centers, etc. And one can also work with self-help groups, adolescent girls or boys, youth, disabled, homeless, etc. And there are several kinds of groups one may form, like educational groups, personality development groups, recreational groups, therapeutic groups, etc. So during the fieldwork, please try to apply or form the pre-group phase, group work sessions, and evaluate the group work, and then write your experiences, the learnings in the report. In the fifth semester, also the fieldwork practicum consists of 25 days, and the practicum journal is BSWL 108. So here also, after you have to do 5 individual conferences and 5 orientation visits in 5 different fieldwork settings. And in this semester, you will practice the method of social work research. Now, social work research as a theory paper, you will study in the 5th semester. So you need to study the theory paper thoroughly so that you are able to apply this method during your fieldwork. So as you will understand, social work research consists of selecting a topic that interests you, and then you have to go to the community or the organization where you want to do the social work research. You need to write a proposal which consists of objectives, methodology, and how you want to do the social work research, and conduct the study, collect the data, evaluate it, and then write the report. So this all requires supervision, guidance from the fieldwork supervisor. So it is very important that the student is constantly in touch with the fieldwork supervisor. So how to write the report in social work research, it consists of the title, introduction, you write the statement of the problem, the need for the study, objectives of the research, methodology, the universe, sample, and then you have to prepare the interview schedule and interview guide, how you administered the schedule, collect the data, analyze the data, provide the recommendations, and finally a conclusion and summary. So the proforma is given along with an example is also given in the fieldwork practicum book, which is BSWL 108, where you have to read it thoroughly and also write your fieldwork report in that particular book, which is provided along with your study materials. The last semester is in the fieldwork practicum is BSWL 109, and here also the total number of days of fieldwork is 25, which consists of 5 individual conferences, and you have to do 5 orientation visits in 5 different fieldwork settings. And during the 15 concurrent fieldwork days, you have to practice the methods of social work administration, social welfare administration, and social action. Now again, this social welfare administration and social action is offered as a theory paper during the 6th semester. You need to learn it thoroughly and then apply these methods in the fieldwork during your 15 concurrent fieldwork days. And social action is a method of social work used for mobilizing masses, and you can study any kind of social action event. For example, you can write about destruction of natural resources, the dowry system if you come across. You can also write something, observe and write your experiences on the Right to Information Act, or how to file a public interest litigation, how to file a complaint with the National Women's Commission, etc. And social welfare administration is again a secondary method of social work, and it consists of administration of public and private agencies. You need to describe the fieldwork agency structure and functioning, and describe the management process by interviewing all the stakeholders, including the chief executive and other employees of the agency. And you have to write the observations and comments about the various aspects of the organization. And it is always suggested to avoid being critical. So, as you can understand, the components of fieldwork practicum in BSWG program are the induction meeting, which is the initial meeting where you need to go to the study center, meet with your fieldwork supervisor, where the fieldwork supervisor will explain about the fieldwork components and how to do the fieldwork during all 6 semesters. Then you will understand how to do orientation visits. Concurrent visits are also an important part of the fieldwork in the BSWG program. You need to practice and write reports of the different methods that you study during the course in BSWG program, and then you have to also write reports on individual conference, self-evaluation report, and global comments. So these are some of the guidelines which I have already explained. Like, you have to complete the fieldwork, then only the whole program is completed. Otherwise, just doing the theory paper will not make you complete the program. So fieldwork has to be completed, and you have minimum 3 to 6 years to complete the program. And if you have any further questions, this is the contact details. You can write to bswinfo@ignou.ac.in for any queries. I hope this session was fruitful to you. Thank you so much.
Are you interested in television journalism or radio journalism or online journalism? Or do you want to learn with the flexibility of open learning? Or if you are a working professional, wants to enhance your knowledge and skill with certification in the field of electronic media, then School of Journalism and New Media Study, IGNOU, offers PG Diploma in Electronic Media for you. This program includes audio and audio-visual program production for radio, television, and online platforms. Here are some important details about the program. We have total 8 courses of 32 credits, 6 theory courses, 1 practical, and 1 project. Eligibility: bachelor's degree in any subject. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3 years. Medium is English, but students can write their examinations, assignments, practical, and project in Hindi also. So if you are interested in television, radio, or online media, please come and join IGNOU's PG Diploma in Electronic Media.
Good evening, students. Today I'll be discussing our MA English course, MEG 13, Writings from the Margins. And today we'll be discussing tribal discourse. And the title of today's presentation will be Tribal History and Worldview. So, in India, tribals are usually called Adivasis, and Adivasis are a is a collective term and also an umbrella term, and it is meant for the heterogeneous set of ethnic or tribal groups of India. In many places, like in the northeast, they still call themselves as tribals. Mostly in central India, they prefer using the word Adivasi. So, Adivasis comprise of around 8.6% of India's population according to 2011 census, which is around 10.6 crores. So, the places where these Adivasis live in India are in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana, in Kerala, even in Kashmir. You have in central India, you have them living in Jharkhand, in Chhattisgarh, in Bengal, in Odisha. Then they also stay in the northeast. So almost, and then again Andaman Nicobar Islands. So almost in different parts of India, you'll be finding tribals, which also include Rajasthan and Gujarat. Now, a day-to-day conversation, what do you understand by the word tribal? We usually think of them as somebody is a group of people who are not civilized, who generally believe who we think that they're uncultured, they lack sophistication, or in a sense raw. And we do not attempt to know more about them. No? We reject their way of life without even attempting to understand the intricacies of their social and cultural system. Now, we should always make an effort to explore their varied cultural and social lifestyles, because we hardly get to come in contact with these tribals. And by doing so, we will enhance our understanding of not only their society and as well as their culture, and it will help us in learning them in a holistic and inclusive manner, because we only know of them as marginalized people. We should try to bring them to the mainstream. Now, according to Nadim Hasnain, who is an author, now she says that there are many names for the tribals. They also call primitive, indigenous, aboriginal, natives, and so on. In Australia, they are called aboriginals. Now, in America, we call them as Native Americans. So they have different. They are called by different names, but they all in all these places they are just this ethnic group of people who are tribals. Then what does one mean by a tribe? Before that is in the pre-independence census, the tribals were referred as aboriginals or a depressed class, and then in 1941 there was an Amendment Act of 1976 which says that they were referred to as scheduled tribes or Adivasis. Now, there are some ideas which is linked to the members of a tribe, and they have each tribe. How do we distinguish them from the members of another tribe? They have a common name, they have common dialect, they have common territory, they have common ancestors, and also a common culture. That is how we distinguish one clan of these tribals from the other clan. Now, according to Hasnain, these people were barbarous and they were also primitive. That's how we know about these tribals. That's what we know about them. And they also had a chief, and they were under the authority of a chief, and they regarded themselves having a common ancestor. So this is how Hasnain describes the tribe. Then G.N. Devi is another critic, and he emphasizes saying that they were though they were primitive people, though they were people who were illiterate, but scientifically speaking, they were more progressive because they did not amass wealth. they believed in distribution of wealth, distribution of resources. They shared it equitably with the members of each of their tribe. And Andre Bettel is another renowned anthropologist, and he defines the tribe in his book Anti-Utopia, saying that the tribe was somewhat vaguely assumed to be a more or less homogeneous society, having a common government, having a common dialect, and a common culture. He further says that the distinctive feature of the tribe of India has been the isolation. The tribes are mainly found in the interior hills, in the interior forests, in the frontier regions, and by and large these communities are left behind. Whenever there has been development taking place, and whenever the states are expanding and there's civilization coming into the mainstream, these people have been pushed backwards, pushed more towards the forests. Then their material culture and the social organization have largely been related to the ecological niches to which they have lived, in which they have lived their isolated lives. And G.N. Devi also says in one of his books in Painted Words that these tribals in the present day context are simply the most underprivileged and underdeveloped group of people. So and G.N. Davis' assessment of tribes as well as Bettel's assessment of tribes was based on what they said was isolation, and the isolation was their significant identity marker. Now there was another set of tribes who were known as the denotified tribes. Now when the Britishers had come to India, they had tagged millions of people of these tribes as born criminals, and they also created a Criminal Tribes Act in 1871. And this act was repealed in 1952, but the stigma still exists. Now, one of the denotified tribes which even exists today is the Charas, and they trace their origin to the nomads from Punjab before the arrival of the East India Company. And these people or these tribals were engaged by traders to transport commodities like salt and honey from coasts to the inland forests and vice versa. And the tribals also, and the Britishers also, they relied on their knowledge, because these people, they knew the deep forests. They could take them through the deep forests wherever they wanted to go, and so the Britishers, they took help or took service from them to go to these unknown territories of the vast country. They would guide the armies to the unfamiliar areas and to establish trading relationships. Their knowledge was utilized by these Britishers till the time of till around 1850, when the railways and the telegraph they came into the picture and they were built. And later, these Britishers started feeling threatened by these tribals because they felt that they moved freely. They could carry intelligence and could not come directly under their control. They could leak out their secret messages, or because they had known their activities. And in the aftermath of the revolt of 1857, the Britishers, they saw these tribals as thugs or robbers, or one can say dacoits. And they felt that these people would be killing travelers. So an act was passed by them in 1871. In 1871 later for the notification of the criminal tribes, and hundreds of these criminals which the Britishers gave the name, they became criminal tribes. Then they also brought in, they thought of putting them in settlements. There were many settlements made throughout India, and these tribals, they were put into the settlements, and whoever would not follow their or adhere to the Britishers would be shot at night. And these Britishers had restricted their movements. Then in a similar fashion, they introduced a pass system, as it had been during the colonial period of the when these whites had come to Africa and they had brought in the pass system in South Africa, and they were restricted, their movements were restricted. In the similar fashion, these tribals movements were also being restricted by these Britishers. So they had this pass system, and only when they would show them their pass, they could allow them to go out. And during this rehabilitation time, they took their help, and they made them laborers, and they made them do whatever work they wanted them to do. And there were around 10 or 15 such settlements in India. We find them in the northeast, in the south, and also in Bombay Presidency. And the largest amongst them was in Solapur in Maharashtra. So around millions of them were detained here. Even the children were detained, their parents were detained, and the newborn babies, they were taken away from their parents because the Britishers felt that they would also learn the same criminal traits which the parents were indulging in. So the question is, did such a criminal tribe exist, or was it the invention of the Britishers? Because the Britishers must be having some selfish motive, wanting to have a tight control of India, and that is the reason they must have brought in, say, this term as criminal tribe, and they must have detained them. Then in 1952, after India's independence, these tribes were denotified, and they were reclassified as habitual offenders. That was in 1959. Now, the Charas who belonged to Punjab, they were notified later, and they were settled in Charanagar, which is in Gujarat, in the 1930s, and they were engaged in doing work such as industrial and agricultural labor. And after independence, the settlements were no longer existed. The tribals were released from the settlements, but their means of livelihood, or the resources which they had needed, they did not have any, and they did not even have any useful skills. As a result, their improvement never changed. They never improved, and they never changed. As a result, they were still in the lower ranks of society. Then, what do we mean by worldview, tribal worldview? The tribal worldview is how these tribal people, they define themselves. What is their way of thinking? What is their way of understanding? How do they relate to other individuals or the environment? Now, we see that the tribals are generally very content people. They are happy people. They do not have they do not demand many things. Their world is limited. Their needs are also limited. They are not greedy, or they do not exploit others for their personal gain. They are a kind of independent people who love freedom, and they do not want to stay restricted. There's Warrior Edwin, he was a Britisher and a researcher who had stayed with the Gonds for many years, and he also had married a Gond woman. He says that their idea of heaven and hell was very different from our idea of heaven and hell. The Gonds' idea of heaven is miles of forest without any forest guards, and their idea of hell is miles and miles of forest without any mahua tree. So this is what they felt about heaven and hell. So their heaven was they referred it to the forest, as well the hell also they would refer to the forest without any trees or without any mahua trees. So we can understand their love and affection for nature, and without nature they could not stay. And then how does an individual relate to others, including the community, environment, and the spiritual world? Because these tribal people have a very rich culture, and they have a lot of songs, poems. They are very rich in folklore. So these tribal people have a strong sense of community life. They wanted to be together all the time. They wanted to work together as a group. They did not believe in isolation, to be separated from each other, and they were intimately related to one another, and they believed in sharing. And again, talk about Warrior Elvin when he says in one of his novels that one day a villager, or some villagers went to get wild mangoes from the jungle, and by evening everybody, almost half the village, was sucking mangoes. So they did not kept it in one place or only one family had it, but the half the village were sucking mangoes. That shows that they loved sharing whatever they had, whatever little resource they had, they wanted to share it. And then they we know their love for nature, so they have filial relationships with trees, with animals, and with other human beings. We also find these trees and animals and other living beings in all their myths and in all their songs, folklore and poems, in their riddles. So these tribals, their literature, whatever they had, existed around it in nature. And the tribals were also closely connected to the spirits of the ancestors, and with whom they interacted. They sought guidance, they sought counseling, and they felt that the spirits of the ancestors, they could guide them properly. And if there was any important work which they had, they would sit down, they would meditate, they would pray to these spirits, and then they would do the work, thinking that their work would be successful. They also believed in a supreme being, and for each tribe, the supreme being was named, was given in different, named differently. For one tribe it was Thakurdev, for another tribe it was Dharti Mata, for another tribe it could be Mahapuru, or for another tribe it could be Dharmesh. So they named their supreme power they gave different names to the supreme power. And the spirits of the ancestors, they would guide the tribes, they would protect the tribes from all adversaries. Another aspect of the worldview is the relationship of a person with others, with the environment, and with the supernatural. And they believe in a community-based life. They were intimately related to other people in society. They were closely related to their family, to their neighbors, to their parents, with their elders. And whenever they were unable, if one family was unable to look after an elder, the other people or the other tribes from the village would be ready to take care of the elders. So everything which they wanted to, they did it in a community kind of, they had a community based life. So all the things were done together. They believed that everything should be done in a group, not individually. Then these people are also bound by community rules. For them, they had the community rules were different from the government rules. These community rules were very important for them than the government rules, because for them the community was very important. So they had their own court, they had their own village council. The villagers respect the village elder and also the head of the community. And if the community rules were broken by one individual, he would be severely punished. So they stayed in discipline. Then they believe in the existence of the spirits, and they seek their counsel at the time of need. And also they had to keep the spirits satisfied and happy, because if they would create anger, then these spirits could bring them some harm. They believed that they could bring them some harm, or some adversary would happen. So they always tried to keep these people, these spirits, happy. Then Barrier Elvin also says that these tribals were possessed by mythology. Myths were very important to these tribals, for these tribals. And for them, totems or signs and symbols, which was each tribe has totem signs or symbols, and they were respected by them, and they would learn a lot about them through the myths. And these emblems of these totems of each tribe either was an animal or a plant or any object. So this distinguished one tribe from the other tribe, and they also believed that if they have to make these icons to satisfy the ancestors, because Elvin says that before the icons were made, ancestors used to give people a great deal of trouble. So to satisfy the ancestors also, they made these totems and these signs. Now, tribals for the tribals, festivals, arts and crafts, songs and dance, they also play a very important role in their life, because they again bring them close to each other. They it is again they helps them to it's a part of of entertainment. They do not have much as entertainment. So saying riddle to each other or singing and dancing would entertain them. So it helps them to go away from the mundane existence to be happy. And in every festival they have different forms of songs, dances, and they have arts and crafts, which is painting. So, and there are other arts and crafts. They do weaving, and so these generations, they teach the next generation. So this is how one generation teaches the other generations the art of weaving or any other craft or the songs and dance which is there in their lives. So they teach the other generation, and this is how they promote it. Then the festivals which the Goans celebrate, one of the important festivals is Karma festival, and there in this festival they invoke the goddess to protect their crops and insects. And this Karma festival is also seen in other parts of central India, and they were celebrated by tribals in Jharkhand, in Chhattisgarh, in Bengal, in Orissa. And they called this they called the karma god Karma Devta. And what they do is they go to the forest, they cut a branch of the karam tree, and they bring it and place it on in the village, in the center of the village, and they all sit around the tree, and they pray to the god, which is in the form of the karma tree, to bring them to give them good harvest and also good health. And then the priests they also narrate or they narrate myths to these people sitting around, the tribal sitting around, and they also come to know what is the myth behind the Karma festival. And they then, after all these rituals are done, they dance and sing around the karam tree. So this practice also connects them to nature. And Elvin describes the artistic nature of tribal people by narrating their art, their craft, motives, and paintings. He has written quite a few books which talks about their art and their crafts, their motives. He talks about the poetic bent of mind of these tribals. He says that an old woman, she was speaking of a fire as flower blossoming on a dry tree. We'll also not imagine such a sentence for fire. And when she talks about umbrella, she also calls it as a peacock with one leg. So this is how she talks about the umbrella or the fire in a beautiful manner. Then we know that birds, trees, and animals, they figure in their myths because they are very close to these animals and birds and trees, and these trees and other animals, they figure in the myths, as in they have characters in the myths, as a jackal. Say they have a character of a jackal which plays an important role in their myth or in their folk tale. And even the birds and animals, they play important roles in their myths. So their belief system also helps them to preserve and protect their forests. They regard the forest as their mother or Dharti Mata. They worship the forest, the trees, the plants. They revere the trees and plants, and they are also not afraid of wild animals, because as Elvin Verir Elvin, when he was staying with the Gonds, he says that once he was traveling in an open car with one of the tribe, Baiga tribe, and he says that this Baiga tribe person, he when he saw the animal, he started chanting a the magic spell, and the tiger just moved away from there without harming them. So he says that these people are very brave. For them, nothing was. They did not harm, or they themselves didn't harm any animal, nor were they scared of these animals. So there were a lot of lessons which these proverbs, song and sayings tell us. And the myths and the rituals, signs and songs, they also, they play an important role in life. In fact, their life, it moved around these rituals, these myths, these signs. That was the only thing which they had in life. And he says that Elvin also says that they had much bigger, these myths also had much bigger role in the than the social institutions. It told them about their role and their place in the earth. So this is what we know about their myths. And then we also the myths also taught them about their creation. One myth called the creation myth, and this myth, every tribe had a different creation myth, and these myths were narrated. Creation myth was narrated when these priests, they would recite chant or recite, or they would do some ritual. So they would narrate these this creation myth. So since I think for today, I think you should, this much what I have said, you should reflect on it, and you should try to read more on it from the block on tribal discourse, which is in the course of the MA program, MEG 13, Writings on the Margins. And next time I will continue with the other part of the worldview. Thank you.